Continuing Semicha Hey, up to Sif Daled is number 12, in one of the volumes. I'm not sure which one it is anymore. 96. Last week we spoke about Maras Ayin, a guy taking a chayfetz out of your rishus that it looks like you're giving it to him. The next two seifim are going to be talking about being nano from something that a guy did on Shabbos. A guy did a malacha on Shabbos, if he could use it or not. And the next two seifim are going to be talking about when a guy did it for himself. And the guy does it for Yisrael, even though he didn't tell him to do it. That's later on. That's similar to Sivav Zayin. These two seifim talk about when a guy does it for himself, if a Jew is allowed to be nana from it on Shabbos. So there's really a quick hakdama for these two seifim. There's really two reasons why it should be asur. One reason brought down into Rishonim is that if a guy goes ahead and makes something for himself on Shabbos, and you're going to go ahead and use it, the chashish that you're going to end up asking him to do it for you. End up doing it for you, and when he does it for you, it's definitely asur. That's one problem. Another problem, which is the main issue we're going to be dealing with today, is the problem of muktzah. That when Shabbos came in, the things that the guy is making the bread out of is muktzah. It's chitim, it's wheat kernels or it's flour, and those things you cannot use on Shabbos unless you do an issur. So it may have a din of muktzah for you, since when Shabbos came in, you couldn't do anything with it. And we'll see what the pshat and the material are, why it's mutter. So those are basically the two isurim. One is you may tell a guy to do it, and one is an issur of muktzah. So let's see the mechaber, Sif Daled. Pas she'ofu akum la'atzmoi b'Shabbos. Bread that a guy baked for himself on Shabbos. Yesh oisrim, yesh matirim. Some people say it's asur, and some people say it's mutter. So let's just get the issue of the Taz before we go to the Hilchah Shabbos issue. Taz is worried about over here. It says, how could you take bread from a guy? It's pas akum. Pas akum, you're not allowed to eat. So forget about Shabbos. Right. So the Taz in Sif Cotton Gimel speaks about it. If you look in middle, it says, Vani ba'ar v'lo eda. In Sif Cotton Gimel, like a few lines in. It says, Vani ba'ar v'lo eda. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Where is that?
Vani ba'ar v'lo eda.
How does he, ba'ar is what, like he's upset or he's...
No, ba'ar is unknowledgeable.
Like a
dumbo.
Yeah, imbecile.
Ish bar lo yeda.
Yeah, ish bar lo yeda. Yeah, it's like a person doesn't know.
Ish bar lo yeda, right. So
it says, Ani bar v'lo yeda, v'heter lachem zeh. What's the heter of this bread? Now, forget about Shabbos. Now we're talking about even during the week. The imay shaso akim la'atzmo, if the guy made it for himself, afilu b'choyel asur. Even during the week, you're now allowed to use the bread. Tavle pashel balabayis v'asur. The pas of a balabayis the halacha by pas akum is only if a person makes the bread for himself, you're not allowed to use it. Pas palter, which is the bread of a baker, is already mutter. But also, he made it to sell. So now it has a din already of pas palter. Pavle palter. Imken kosher. The kimitcha ata matiroi who oisa b'shvil the moicher liYisrael gamke. He's doing it to sell it for Yisrael. So the halacha is if a guy makes something on Shabbos, not for himself. He does it for Jews also. Then you're not allowed to be nana from it, because it's like he did it for you, like we spoke about before. If a guy makes it for himself, it may be mutter. He's making it for a Jew, it's asur. So it's pas palter, so he's baking it to sell, so it's like he's making it for you. He's making it for you, it's asur. Same thing as, let's say, they speak about this a lot, maybe we'll get to it later on, newspapers. Newspapers that are printed on Shabbos. There's no heter the guy made it for himself, because he's not making it for himself, he's making it for you. He's not making it for himself, especially if you ordered it before Shabbos, you get a daily paper, and it comes to you on Shabbos, a lot of person holds also to read it.
Oh, really?
Because it was made for you on Shabbos.
Oh, so you can read it
After Shabbos, yeah.
but not during.
But on Shabbos, anyways, it's probably papers on Shabbos. But let's say you're not so makbar in that Isser, you have a different Isser. That it's made for you, right? If it's made to sell, or it's made to give out, it's not called made for the guy, it's made for you. So here also, Pas Palter is made for Yisrael. If it's made for Yisrael and for Goyim, tzarech lahamtim. He made it for himself. So how could you eat it? It's Pasha Balabayis. There's certain times that Pas Akum is mutter. So we're talking about in a case where Pas Akum is mutter, with the Mokum at Chak, you have no other bread, and it could be makel on Pas Akum. Al the Kam b'Shulchan Aruch mashma lahatir the Gamri. It's mashma the Shulchan Aruch is matter in all situations, because the mechaber is the material is mashma. It's always mutter, even shloim b'shas Chak. Mid the Chriya b'shas Chak is litzmach al material mashma. The material shareh fil shloim b'shas Chak. The su the vadai the mashma. We're not matter to make a moitzi on Shabbos with Pasha Balabayis. Because Mashmir there shall be Isser Pashal Goyim. It's Archelaim the Marikan shall so libchon. He made it to sell. And most of the people in the city are Goyim. So we'll see later on that if you make something to sell, and most of the people in the city are Goyim, it's called he made it for Goyim.
Would you like a newspaper? Would that be different?
No, newspaper may be different.
Wow.
A newspaper you ordered beforehand, he's making it for you. That could be worse. If he's making it, then on Shabbos you decide you want to buy it from him, you want to go to the newsstand and take one and say, listen, he'll give, you know the guy, he'll give it to you for free, or you'll pay him after Shabbos, whatever it is, you don't buy it on Shabbos, that could be mutter. Because then he didn't make it for you, he made it to sell. And who's going to buy it? Most people are going to buy it, especially on Shabbos. But if you ordered it beforehand and they're delivering it to you, so that paper they made for you. It's much worse.
It was certainly delivered for you.
Yeah, but even when it's made, they make it.
They're making. I mean, they're publishing 1 million copies.
1 million copies, but one of the 1 million copies is made for you because you ordered it. One of them is made for you. If I'm not mistaken, we'll get into it maybe later on, but it's not a person give a heter, they should tell them, I'm ordering it for 6 days a week. Shabbos, I don't want it. If they happen to give it to you, so they gave it to you. But you say they're ordering it for Shabbos, so it's not made specially for you. But if it's Roiv Akum, then the heter is that they're making it for Goyim, and therefore it's mutter. So that's how the Taz takes care of the problem over here of Pas Akum. He says it's called Pas Palter over here. It's bread that was made by a baker. The roiv of the people in the city are Goyim. So I have a little kasha on the Taz. Maybe we'll get to it more later on in the Simon. Wait till he's doing it for roiv akum. He's doing it on Shabbos. He don't buy bread. It's a pas palter, right? And he makes the bread on Shabbos. The Shabbos run of bread that he's making is, even if it's not roiv akum, even if it's roiv Yisrael, he don't buy bread on Shabbos. So even if it's Rav Yisrael in the city, the people who is making the bread for is for Goyim. It happens to be this Jew, this Shabbos didn't have bread, so he went to the bakery and took a loaf of bread. But most Shabbosim, you don't walk into the bakery to buy bread. So we'll have to see later on. If you have a place where it's Rav Yisrael, but the person that's making it is making it for the whole city, but Yidden don't buy it on Shabbos, does that have a din like Roiv Akum or not? For the Taz's mashma, not that way. For the Taz's mashma, doesn't have a din of Roiv Akum.
Wouldn't depend how much he makes. If he makes less on Shabbos because the Jews don't buy
it should be a raya.
Then it
should be a raya. If he makes less on Shabbos because the Jews aren't coming in on Shabbos, it's a raya that even though it's Roiv Yisrael in the city, the Shabbos run of bread is meant for Goyim. So we'll have to see when we get to it later on. Some of it's a Roiv Akum, Roiv Yisrael.
But maybe he's including the Jews in a bit of a cheshbon, and that some Jews will come after Shabbos and get his bread, or the next day they'll come and get this bread.
So the question, the case that we're talking about, he's not making fresh bread every day. he's made the bet Shabbos even for after Shabbos that Yidden will come by it. Maybe that's the case here.
Yeah.
Maybe you always have to be choishish that if it's Roiv Akum, that if it's Roiv Yisrael, that he's making it even though Yidden will buy on Shabbos, they'll come after Shabbos and buy. So we'll see later on exactly how you shekel, how you measure whether it's Roiv Akum or Roiv Yisrael.
We're not allowed to buy bread from the Goyim anyway.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. So paspal to
So why he would do for Jew bread?
Paspal to allowed.
Jews not allowed to buy.
Paspal to allowed. A bakery allowed. Only private is not allowed.
Oh, bakery, commercial bakery.
Yeah, commercial bakery is allowed. Yeah.
So what about if the idea of the Neulad with regards to newspaper? Can a person buy a coffee from a store?
We'll see. We'll speak about this.
Repay the same idea.
We'll speak about it. We'll speak about it. Yeah, that's a problem. See, coffee and everything. We'll get to all that. That's the Teresh. The same issue with the paper. Paper can be Neulad.
Right.
It's printed on Shabbos.
Right. So
Yeah.
same idea.
Yeah.
The question becomes like, you. Okay.
We'll get to it. Let's see. Fine. So Pasha Afa Akum La'ata B'Shabbos Yesh Oyser Yesh Matirim. So let's go into the reasoning for the Oyser and the Matirim. So let's see the Magen Avram Sivkot and Tess. Yesh Oyser. Some people say it's Oyser. Why? The Havelei Neulad. It's Neulad because when Shabbos came in, it was flour or it was chitim. It was wheat kernels. Even though chitim, which is wheat kernels, you could chew the way it is. It's not right to eat it for the way it's going to be at the end, meaning bread. So that's one reason. The reason of Neulad was created on Shabbos, which is a din like muktzah. Before Shabbos started, it wasn't here. And now you have a new thing on Shabbos. It has a din like muktzah, even a bigger issa than muktzah, and there's an issa of Neulad. That's one reason for the oisrim. Some people say the reason is you'll tell a guy to cook for you on Shabbos. Two reasons. Now, Simin Reish Ayin Vav, it says if a guy lights a candle for himself, you're allowed a banana from the candle. The same thing if a guy turns on a light on Shabbos. You're allowed to use that light on Shabbos if he does it for himself. If he's doing it for you, it's awesome. If he's doing it for himself, you're allowed to. So why is that different than if a guy bakes a bread on Shabbos? Says the Magen Avram, b'midid ha'achila kazrina trei. By something that we eat, we make a bigger gzeira, a guys are more. They may come to ask him. Why? Because it's something that everybody needs. So that's the Oysim. Oysim say over here, two reasons the Magen Avram brings down. One reason is because it's Neulad, it wasn't ready before Shabbos. And one reason is because it is a Gzeira, Shema, Yemer La'akum, to tell the guy to do it for you on Shabbos.
So he's saying, so by the Nair, the Magen Avram is saying we're not worried that he's going to tell the guy. So for himself, we have always this chashash of Shema Yate. But we're saying for the goy, we're not afraid that he's going to give me more light.
No, Shema Yate is something else. Shema Yate is to go read by the light. If there's a certain type of light.
Right.
But the light's got a mutter on Shabbos. But the little candle that's mutter, no Shema Yate.
Okay. So
the chash would be maybe you can tell the guy to light a candle for you on Shabbos.
Or not more light, like we're not afraid that.
No, not that for more light.
You work.
You're into light l'chatchila. You're in a dark room. You need light.
Everything.
You can tell a guy to light the candle for you. So we're not choishes for that.
Maybe whatever.
By Ner we're not choishes for that. By mitzvah achila we're choishes. You can tell the guy to make the bread for you on Shabbos.
So we're allowed to have a Shabbos.
What do you mean?
Because you're making it there, you can't eat this
make a bread. No, if you pay them in
might
advance
come to tell him,
for you.
Which is Amir al-Akim, which is a gzeira.
It's not Xer and Xer, no.
Do the same in shul.
Amir al-Akim is not Xer. Amir al-Akim could be Nissa de Raisa. Could be Nissa de Rabbanon. It's an Issa. Amir al-Akim is an Issa.
Well, it's not a gzeira. So
it's not a Xer.
That's what
Issa de Rabbanon, yeah. It's a Xer for an Issa de Rabbanon. That's something else.
Yeah.
A Xer is only when there's a Xer, a Chokka for something. and then you make a gzera on that. An gzera and issa d'Rabbana is not called a gzera of gzera.
But it depends how you learn.
No, Mirlachim Pashas is.
Rashi.
Yeah.
According to one,
So it's the right even.
could be right, but
Yeah.
but it could only be that it's an inyan in Hachaka of Kavod Shabbos.
What does it mean? It's not a gzera. It's not a gzera. It's an issa d'Rabbana. It's not a gzera up to something else. You may come to do something else. Gzera means I'm asking this. You should have come to do something else.
It's not like you might come to do it yourself. You
Right.
ask the guy to
No,
do it.
no.
It's not because.
No, not because you may come and do it yourself. It's not the reason why Mirlachim is also. So it's not a gzera of gzera. Fine, so those are the two reasons. Now, V'chem Mashma v'Mordechai, Pei Gimel Erevin, V'ayitsim Tavkuf Tezvav, Kozmat Hesed B'Avoid Zalilim, Tasamach Vav Mud Beis. Now, V'ein Leser Apas Mishum Deshema Nitlishu B'Shabbos Ha'etzim Shenefa B'hem. So the Magen has a side question now. But you can't ask the bread to Shema Nitlishu B'Shabbos Ha'etzim, the wood, Shenefa B'hem, that you cooked in it, that you baked in it, or muktzim heim. What's the chashir? The Magen Avraham says there's another issue here. Maybe the guy cut the wood on Shabbos, and the wood is muktzah, because it was attached before Shabbos, and now he cut it down on Shabbos, so the wood is muktzah, and he's baking the bread with muktzah wood. Says the Magen Avraham, that's not a problem. Why? The Mabakach. The lo yaminan yeshvach eitzim apas, ela b'yisurei hana. Meaning, this is a whole different sugya, which we're not going to get into now. There's something called yeshvach eitzim apas. Yeshvach eitzim apas means when you cook bread and you use wood that's usher, because the machlokes in the Gemara is as if you're eating the wood. Yeshvach eitzim apas. The pas, the bread, is like it has the wood in it. Since the wood made the bread, so when you're eating the bread, it's as if you're eating the wood. It's a din, as if you're eating the wood, because the wood made the bread. It's machlokes in the Gemara. Yes, shvach eitzim apas. That will be, if there is shvach eitzim in the pas, it's like you're eating the bread, eating the wood. I mean, but if you hold ein shvach eitzim apas, so that means you're not eating the wood. You may be having hana from the wood. What's the hana? Because it cooked your bread, so you're having hana. You're getting pleasure from the wood, but you're not eating the wood. That's called hana. So it's two different levels.
Well, most of us don't have wood stoves, so if you they're using electricity, is it the same issue? You're getting enough?
No, electricity, because the question how it was put on. It's put on Shabbos by a guy, then it could be a problem.
Right.
Because you're having enough. But there's no shvach eitzim in electricity.
Right. That's
no. It's only it's enough. So says the Magen Avraham, you don't have to worry about that. Yesh shvach eitzim apas. What's the problem? It's an hana, and muktzah mutter b'hana. Muktzah is mutter b'hana, so there's no problem of the wood that the guy cut the wood on Shabbos. From Zayin and Beis, mashma the osel v'asham b'asem muktzah, v'ayin sim yinale, v'ayin sham. When we'll have Yom Tov, maybe we'll get into that.
Well, why does he dismiss the problem of yesh shvach eitzim? Because that's a sheet in the Gemara, or
we don't pass it that way.
Because we don't pass.
Right, we don't pass yesh shvach eitzim.
Bring up a potential problem,
correct.
And he's saying we don't
hold up yesh shvach eitzim pass. So you don't have to worry about as if you're eating the wood. What do you have to worry about? Hana.
No.
Hana is not a problem by muktzah. You're allowed to have hana from muktzah. You're not allowed to use muktzah, but hana you're allowed to have. You're allowed to sit on muktzah if you want. Right? You just can't move it.
So you don't move it. Yeah.
Fine, so that's the oyster. It says about the Rabbi, yesh matirim. Why? The Spiro lahem, the kivim, the gomra with the adam, the havale muktzah, the isa, the beya, pei gimel. So now like this. The first issue, the Magen Avraham doesn't address. The second issue of the Magen Avraham of the Oisrim, that by Achila, we're going to more. And it says, why is it different than Ner? Why aren't the Choshish, you can tell the guy to do it for you? So the Magen Avraham doesn't even address that issue over here. The Yesh Matirim obviously hold, and the Machta Shekel speaks it out. The Yesh Matirim hold that we don't make a gezerah by food more than by a Ner. By a Ner it's mutter, we're not gezer that you may tell him to do it for you. By food also, we don't make a gezerah that you can come and tell him to do it for you. But there's another problem. You're right, there's no problem of maybe you tell the guy to do it for you, but there's a problem of noilad What happened to that problem? Says the Magen Avram, the Yesh Matirim hold there's no problem of Noilad. Why? Kivin the Gamru b'dei Adam, Lahavale Muktzah, Kedisa, Beya Perigimel. What is that Gemara? The Gemara, I'm not going to go through the whole Gemara, but because the Gemara brings a raya over there, that every time you cook your food, every Friday night, you put your raw chal on top 10 minutes before Shabbos. It's mutter. Chayakid v'chaysa is mutter. And it cooks over Friday night, Shabbos morning, it cooks. Bein hashmashas, what do you have?
Raw beans.
You have raw beans, raw meat. It's not edible, it's muktzah. So why is it mutter? Why are you not eating on Shabbos? Anytime that something bein hashmashas is raw, how are you not eating on Shabbos? So the Gemara says in Beya that it's Gamru b'dei Adam. It's going to be finished by itself. Therefore it's mutter. You don't have to do anything. It's going to happen by itself, and therefore it's mutter.
Well, that would be an argument for Gamru b'dei Shemayim. If it's going to happen by itself.
It's not b'dei Shemayim. You did it.
Well, you started the process.
Yes, that's not b'dei Shemayim.
If you keep
That's
it
called b'dei Shemayim. You're keeping it there. It's called Gamru b'dei Adam. It's going to finish.
So Gamru b'dei Shemayim is like b'dei Shenol to be...
Correct. Yeah. Here, this is called Gamru b'dei Adam. You started before Shabbos. It's going to finish automatically by itself over Shabbos. That's called Gamru b'dei Adam, and it's mutter. So that everyone agrees is mutter. Anytime you put a pot of raw food Erev Shabbos on the fire, everyone agrees it's mutter because Gamru b'dei Adam. It's going to finish by itself. The question is, a guy that has in his rishos chitim or flour, so why is it muktzah? It could also be Gamru b'dei Adam. The guy can go ahead and make bread on Shabbos. Why is it muktzah? He's allowed to make bread on Shabbos. There's nothing wrong with him making bread on Shabbos. So why is it bread? Why is it muktzah? Why do we say the flour? A guy's flour is a muktzah on Shabbos. It shouldn't be muktzah on Shabbos.
It's muktzah for us.
It's muktzah, but it's not muktzah because the guy can make bread on Shabbos. Even for you, it shouldn't be muktzah. Because it's the guy's flour, and the guy can make the bread on Shabbos. He has no issue to make bread on Shabbos. So why is it even muktzah for us?
Because you cannot name him.
Because the guy can make it on Shabbos. The guy's not for himself.
So in other words, even if you went on Shabbos to a boy's house, that flour that he still has in his house, you could say was just
correct.
Flour.
It's not muktzah.
It's not muktzah.
Correct.
It's his flour.
Even in the flour.
Even on Shabbos. He
correct.
Can make bread right now on Shabbos.
Even in the flour state, it's not muktzah. A guy's flour is not muktzah because he can make bread on Shabbos, and that's called Gamru b'dei Adam. That's what the Matirim hold. The Matirim hold that just because it's raw now, it doesn't mean it's muktzah. Raw now doesn't mean it's muktzah. As long as something could be done with it on Shabbos, it's not muktzah. To make it not muktzah, so it's not muktzah. So flour of a guy, something could be done on Shabbos to make it not muktzah. Therefore, it's not muktzah. The same way our beans that are cooking out of Shabbos, that it's going to change into cooked beans, it's not muktzah. Why? Because it's going to happen. It can happen by itself. Same thing by a guy. That's the material.
So you have to say that something that could be done to it beheter to make it non-muktzah?
Correct.
What about our own raw beans on Shabbos then? Our own raw beans. Our muktzah.
Yes.
Because now there's no way to make it muktzah.
Correct.
So Gamru then implies that it has to be a process that has started at least from before Shabbos.
Who said that? I never said that yet.
Sorry?
I never said that yet. Where did you get that?
Gamru.
Gamru, you could finish the Adam.
In other words, something that's in other words, just from the Lashon, you'd say Gamru, something that is going to complete.
That's
something. That
okay. Who says that's a start? That's the Mashal. We'll get to that in a second.
I didn't say it.
Yeah, where did you see that talking about?
I didn't see the Mashal.
Okay.
So far, it's just a question.
Okay. Maybe the Lashon, you're right. Gamru means that it will be finished by itself.
Right.
But where do you see that Lashon Gamru the Adam? It could be finished by the Adam. It could be finished on Shabbos.
Right, it implies that. Okay.
Yeah, you want to direct the Lashon Gamru is like the Mashal. Okay.
Then that's fine.
So that's the material. The material hold that as long as the guy could make it on Shabbos, it's not muktzah. Why? Because the guy has the right to bake food on Shabbos. No, it's a muktzah. Says the Magen Avram weiter, "Va'osim Spiro lahem." Where do the osim hold? The dafka gabi muktzah min kain, the makta oisay midaitai. Kivin she'adam yachal legoimroi. Ma she'ein kain gabi noilad. Only by muktzah do we say such a heta of Gamru b'dei Adam. But something that's noilad, you created a whole new thing, you made from flour bread, that's called noilad. On that we don't say a het of gomer b'di'adam. That's what the Magen Avraham says the oitzim hold, meaning beans, for example, it's not called noilad. All he did was, he took the beans and he made them softer. He didn't create a new thing. So it could be according to this, beans, which is not noilad, which is muktzah, maybe the oitzim will be mekel. Because it's not noilad, it's only muktzah. Muktzah would help gomer b'di'adam. Flour, which you made bread, which is noilad, there the oitzim hold, there's no het of gomer b'di'adam, according to this pshat in the Magen Avraham. But then he says, "V'yam shashloima b'chulin." Similar with beis kasvu, the dafka b'davar shehischel koydem Shabbos, v'nigmar b'Shabbos shari. Ayin sham. V'chein kotel simulation beis yiv dalit, tavanami noilad the meikara or v'hashta kli. The case over there is that the Marshal says the only het of gomer b'di'adam is something that started before Shabbos and was finished on Shabbos. For example, a guy started making his shoes. The case of the Marshal, for example, was shoes. The guy started making shoes on Erev Shabbos. He's going to finish it on Shabbos. Something that was started before Shabbos and he's going to finish it on Shabbos, there's a het of gomer b'di'adam. But if it wasn't started at all on Shabbos, before Shabbos, everything started on Shabbos, says the Mashal, there's no heter of gomer b'di'adam, even if a guy is going to do it. Why? Because the only heter of gomer b'di'adam is when it started, it's going to be finished. So since when Shabbos came in, it was already started the process, we look at it as if it's finished, because it could be finished. But if the process didn't start Erev Shabbos, even if it's a guy's flour, it doesn't make a difference. It's muktzah. Why is it muktzah? Because nothing happened yet.
If the guy is going to tell you, I'm not sure if I
doesn't make a difference. If it didn't start making it Erev Shabbos, it's nothing.
No, he have a time, but he says, I'm not sure if I'm going to take your car and start to work on that.
It doesn't matter. If it didn't start during Erev Shabbos, there's no heter, according to the Mashal.
How do you know when?
Gomer b'di'adam,
the fact that it's converted from wheat to flour, that process that started before Shabbos, he knows he starts it from...
That's not enough, because flour...
In other words, at the point of flour...
The baking has to start.
The baking or the mixing in the water.
So the Marshal would not agree to the Yesh Matirim, unless it was already
correct.
started.
The Marshal explains the Yesh Matirim. The Marshal explains...
the Yesh Matirim if it's done.
No, the Yesh Matirim, everyone agrees that if a guy starts baking his bread before Shabbos, it's mutter. It's not worse than if you make your bread before Shabbos. The truth is, you're right, you have a point. You don't think about this. According to the Mashal says the whole issue is so it didn't start before Shabbos. So let's say the guy started making the bread before Shabbos, it's dough. And then he puts it into the oven on Shabbos. It would come out, according to the Mashal, it will be mutter, as long as he started doing it before Shabbos.
Right. So even if you start making the dough before.
Right. Yeah, and the family.
The Amstel Shlomo is the Mashal?
Mashal, yeah. So even according to the Mashal, it'll be according to Shabbos mutter. But let's just break up the two Mahalchim here in the Issa. The Magen Avraham says that even though muktzah is okay, noilad is worse. By noilad we don't give a het of gomer b'di'adam. I mean, it changed from flour to bread. There's no het of noilad of gomer b'di'adam according to the Eisrim. Muktzah, yeah.
But we learned that it's not. I thought we learned that it's muktzah because of noilad.
Right.
In other words, that there's some that they're tied together.
100%. But noilad is a higher level of muktzah. Noilad is a higher level of muktzah. Let's look at it that way. Noilad is a higher level of muktzah. Muktzah means something you set aside, and on Shabbos you decide you want to use it. Nothing changed in the chayfetz. He didn't make a new thing. If you make a new thing, that new thing wasn't there before Shabbos started. It's more muktzah than something that was there when Shabbos started.
So a raw egg before Shabbos,
right?
And the guy boiled it on Shabbos. Could that be muktzah or not?
I'm not sure.
So
I'm not
you can eat raw eggs anyway.
Maybe not.
Between noilad and muktzah.
Very practical. Halachic or?
Yeah, you're saying noilad is just a higher form of muktzah.
Yeah, right here. This is one afkamina. Usually not.
Nafkamina is if you take away Right, if you take away one of them, it's if you learn that they're connected. In other words, the reason for muktzah is because it's noilad.
No. This is noilad because muktzah.
Okay, noilad.
Muktzah is not because it's noilad. Not every muktzah is noilad.
If you have something that's noilad, then it becomes muktzah.
Yes, I say it was a muktzah already when Shabbos started. Noilad is something when Shabbos started, it's muktzah. It changed, it became something else now on Shabbos. Right?
But let's say
yeah, why is it muktzah? Because that thing wasn't there before Shabbos.
If you had ice before Shabbos, it's not muktzah. In other words, but then you only have noilad.
That's something else. That's a different type of noilad. That's not the noilad we're talking about. The noilad of water, ice becoming water, is something else. That's moilad. You're making something. Could be it's worse. You're making it yourself, you're making the ice. That was the child there.
Right.
That was moilad.
Now we have 3.
Yeah. Moilad is something else. Yeah. Moilad is something else.
You put the ice and it smells by itself.
Okay, so let's go back to bed. So
there's two things. There's muktzah and there's noilad.
Right.
Muktzah means you have something that you don't plan using on Shabbos. For example, a hammer. A hammer is muktzah. Why? Because you don't plan using it on Shabbos.
Right.
On Shabbos, decide you want to use it. Right? It was muktzah, ben ishmashas.
So that's what we know is davar sheis.
That's muktzah machas issa, muktzah machas. You have a fire. You have a what's called a candle. It's muktzah because there's a fire in it. So it's muktzah. Nothing changed. The fire goes out. Nothing changed to the candle.
Right.
It was muktzah. You can't use it.
Okay.
That's a regular muktzah. There's something called noilad. Noilad is something that wasn't there when Shabbos started. And now on Shabbos it became.
Right. So
therefore it's muktzah.
So now, right. So the noilad is that. So now the newspaper that didn't exist before is now muktzah.
Correct. So, a newspaper that's printed on Shabbos.
Right.
May have been itself noilad.
Right. So noilad. Right. In other words, so you can have them separated. You can have something which is muktzah, which is not noilad. You can have something.
There's no practical.
You can have something that's muktzah. It's not noilad, but noilad isn't issa because of muktzah. Why is noilad also on Shabbos? Why is something that it's not the regular? Because it's muktzah. It wasn't there when Shabbos started. Right. So a paper that's printed on Shabbos is an issa muktzah. But maybe for a guy, if it's a guy's paper, it's not muktzah. Why? Because if it's a guy, it's never issa noilad. Say a guy can make bread on Shabbos. There's no issa noilad for the guy. A guy that makes bread on Shabbos, so it's noilad. It was flour, and I made bread. According to the Matirim, it's mutter. Why? Why is it mutter according to the Matirim? Because they hold.
You're already there.
Because it's the guy. The guy has no muktzah. He can do whatever he wants on Shabbos. But they can say it wasn't here before Shabbos, so he maks the daitim menu. No, a guy could make whatever he wants on Shabbos. A guy can make the bread on Shabbos. A guy can make the newspaper on Shabbos. So by a guy, there's no issue of muktzah, because for him, even though he has to do an issa to make something, he's allowed to do it on Shabbos.
So the newspaper of a guy
that prints a newspaper for himself, you're allowed to read it on Shabbos. Besides the issues of newspapers.
Right.
A guy that prints something on Shabbos for himself, right? You can read according to the Matirim, not according to Isim or something else. According to the Matirim, a guy makes a newspaper for himself, you're allowed to read it on Shabbos. The Oisrim, who say that a guy that makes bread on Shabbos, you can't use it because of noilad, the same thing will be by a newspaper. It'll be an issa noilad.
But a newspaper is not exactly noilad because the paper is there. Like it's not like it was not paper at all.
Okay, yeah. So when I say that the printed ink on the paper is not really noilad. Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, it's not like making bread.
The Oisius is the lettering.
Is noilad? Is it the
What do you know noilad?
You're forming letters. Something that wasn't there before Shabbos. Hey, maybe you could argue that paper is not noilad. I don't know. That was my dimion. I don't know if the person can say that a newspaper is noilad. I don't know. But one second. So the Magen Avraham says that the Oisim hold that maybe muktzah is okay, but if it's governed by the other, it's okay. But noilad is a problem. The Yav Shlomo says in Eliezer that even something that a guy has, if the head of government by the other is only when it started before Shabbos. If it didn't start before Shabbos, then it's muktzah. So even a guy's flour, if it's sitting there ben hashmashas, he didn't start making the bread, according to Yav Shlomo, it's asur. Why? Because as long as it didn't start before Shabbos, it's called muktzah and it's asur. Now let's see a little further. Let's see another example. Because by Taisim Shabbos from Gimel the Dafka B'Kedeiris Alpichay Roiskos Ben Hashmashos Leiskatzai LeKul Yemo. Kedeiris, which is the ride that governed by the Adam is mutter, is only by Kedeiris. Kimishay B'Yoda L'Kararan, you can make it cool down. The Mayitzarech Lama, you Mekaran, you can cool it down. V'chein Pulim V'Adashim. Even though when I started cooking, it wasn't ready to eat. The meikara daitoi sheizbashlo beli shum dichui. Right now, when you put the pot on the fire Erev Shabbos and it's cooking, so that's called Gomru b'di Adam. It's going to finish by itself. So Gomru b'di Adam is headed by Yisrael, and Gomru b'di Adam is headed by a guy only if it started before Shabbos. Masha Enkein, it says, K'shekaifa hasal lefneyu afreichem. There's a very important case, and we'll see, this is very, very negay halacha l'maaseh. I'll tell you soon why. When you take a kli, and you turn it over for a freichen, for chickens to jump on it to get up, v'hayu ola ben hashmoshes, hikza oisan shah achas l'tzarcham, v'tzkatzoi l'kula yoyma, v'lemahani kamru b'dei adam. What's the case over there? You take a kli, like a step stool for chickens, turn it upside down, the chickens hop on it and go where they have to go. Now, when a chicken is on a ben hashmoshes, it's muktzah. Right? You can't touch chickens on Shabbos unless they use it. No, that's it. It's muktzah. You're sending them aside for the chickens. But there, you can easily get rid of the chickens on Shabbos. You send them away, and they're gone. Now you can use the kli. The halach is, says the Michel, that's not called Gomru b'di Adam. Why? Because Ben Hashmoshes, when the chickens were on there, you wanted the kli to be there for the chickens. You didn't want it for yourself. At that point of Ben Hashmoshes, you wanted the kli to be there for the chickens. So it's being a raya that Gomru b'di Adam won't help unless it started Ben Hashmoshes. Got that?
You actually wanted it to be muktzah.
You wanted it to be muktzah ben hashmoshes. The case of the pot when you're cooking and there's raw beans inside. You didn't want it to be muktzah ben hashmoshes. It happens to be the beans are raw and you're waiting for it to get cooked.
Your intention is that you want to use that.
You want to use it.
Yeah, you want the intention.
Here's the opposite. You want it to be for the chickens ben hashmoshes.
Right. Even
though it's Gomru b'di Adam later on, you can easily send away the chickens.
Yeah.
It's not a heter. It's not a heter. Chemashma b'rosh. I'm going to finish the morning of Rabbi, and then I'll show you that it's very negay for today. Chemashma b'rosh. Gimel debate. The zel is chashav Gomru b'di Adam. Al b'toysu Shabbat amavdal b'dimatzcha yesh oleh amoyis. Al Gomru b'di Adam. Mashma the Afrika hiksa ois shor achas. Even though ben hashmoshes you wanted the money to be there. Chashav Gomru b'di Adam. It's called Gomru b'di Adam. Taisa argues in a different place. Taisa is mashma that if you have something that ben hashmoshes you want it to be muktzah, but you can easily get rid of the muktzah on Shabbos. That's not called. That's a heter of Gomru b'di Adam. Right? Chashav Sham Dim have a Gomru b'di Adam. Afilu hayu Allah ben hashmoshes. Literally, the tzarich loymed le'damim mamish le'Gomru b'di Adam b'ayim tesizvei. So that's the Magen Avram. So he brings down Machlokes and Tosfos if at that point, when hashmoshes, you wanted it to be muktzah, if it's called Gomru b'di Adam or not. The Meister, the Mashal says, it's not called Gomru b'di Adam, because the ben hashmoshes, you wanted it to be muktzah, then it's called muktzah. Even if you could easily get rid of the muktzah, or even if a guy could go ahead and bake it on Shabbos, it's called muktzah. Why? Because that's not called Gomru b'di Adam.
The case of the Marshal, both of them that he brings down, these seem to be like cases that are in the Gemara, right. that even the Matirim would have to be able to explain.
That's a case, right. That's the Yesh Matirim, the case of the Marshal Axis, or that's Matir?
Well, he has one of each, right? In other words, his principle is at the end of the day that Gomru doesn't work.
Right. Correct. There's no rhyme first from the Gemara.
Where are these cases from? The case of the Sal and the
so the Sal is the question.
I see it's in Chulin.
Yeah, so the Sal is the question. Tosfos is right from Sal. The question is, the Tosfos is down the case. It's not the Gemara.
I see here. Tosfos Shabbos.
It's Tosfos. The question is if you have a right from there. You have to see the Gemara from there. That's a part of the case of the Gemara is where you could shoo away the Ephraim. So basically, what we have over here is Machlokes in the Mechaber. Yesh Matirim v'yesh Oisrim. The Yesh Oisrim hold that either it's a Gzeri and tell a girl to do it for you on Shabbos, Noilad, it's Muktzah because of Noilad, and in that Svara of that Muktzah we have the Marshal. The Marshal says that if it didn't start before Shabbos, that's the Issa. The only heter of a guy is if it started before Shabbos. Even though he's doing a malacha on Shabbos. But if he started before Shabbos, it's mutter. But if there's a time that Ben Hashmashas you wanted it to be muktzah, then everyone agrees, according to Mashal, then it has a din that it's muktzah. And the Mechaber ends off, Ubashas Adchak, by the Tzarech Mitzvah, by the Tzudas Bris Milah, by the Tzarech Birchas HaMaitzi, Yesh Litzmach Al HaMatirim. The Mechaber says the Matirim, if you Samech them, if it's Bashas Adchak, you need Lecha Mishnah, or Tzudas Bris Milah, you could be Mekel. Hago, I will also litten like Mois Me'erev Shabbos, which eaten like a pass with Shabbos, the other died to the Yisrael oven. Let's leave the Moy out for a second. Now, I'm going to give you a case, which we spoke about a few times already, and now you see it's not so simple that it's mutter. The case is that we have today, very, very common shaila, is that they have timers. So you set up your timer for Shabbos morning, that your coffee machine should go on Shabbos morning and make you brewed coffee. So what happens here? Ben Hashmashas, that coffee that's in the coffee machine is what? Is muktzah. Right? It's muktzah. On Shabbos, it's making coffee. Is that mutter or asr? What would you say? After we learned the sif, is that in the gears? What would you say?
Yes.
Right, so it depends.
The Marshal, it should be okay.
No.
You started it before Shabbos.
No, but you want Ben Hashmashas, you want it to be in its raw status.
It's only kicking in 7 o'clock. You didn't have a light time. Time starts with lights in the morning.
It didn't start before Shabbos. The time it didn't start before Shabbos.
Because it's fresh.
Yeah, even more. According to Michel, you have to start the process before Shabbos. A timer is not called starting the process. A timer is not different than a goy. A guy who starts making it Shabbos morning, fresh bread. Right? He has the flour, he has a mind. Friday night, Shabbos morning, he's going to make fresh bread. It's not called starting before Shabbos. A timer, it didn't start the process before Shabbos. It's a timer that it's going to start the process on Shabbos. In fact, they put it in to the machine and everything.
That's not called
It's not called starting it before Shabbos.
You didn't do anything else to it yet.
Yeah, nothing happened to it yet. You set it up. Didn't start. According to the Mashal, it'll definitely be Yasser. And according to the case of the Afroichim, where you could chew them away, if you want the B'dafka Erev Shabbos, that should be Muktzah, that means you want B'dafka Erev Shabbos, this coffee should not be cooked, because you want it fresh the next morning. So you matcha b'yadayim already.
It's a little different.
Why?
Because by the approaching, you want it to serve that purpose, that muktzah purpose at that moment.
Right.
You would prefer not that the coffee fresh. So you don't really want it cooked right now, but it's not that I want this to be raw right now, my coffee grind.
You do. Because you want it to be fresh tomorrow morning. You want it to be in this status now.
How did we get from timer to a goy? That's
a timer and a goy, they say both of them didn't start before Shabbos.
No, I understand, but aside from that point, are they the same? I mean,
you want to say time is worse?
I don't know.
Okay, if anything, the time is worse.
I don't know.
If anything, the time could be worse. Moshe's Asa's timers.
Correct.
But we're going to develop for some reason didn't take on Moshe's Chumrah of timers. And the whole timers are okay.
So with regards to bread,
some yes, some not.
Right.
So you're saying that if the goy would have taken his flour and water,
right,
got a kind of bread, set it up on the table, just in preparation, didn't do anything to it at all.
Right.
So that's not called.
According to Mashal, he didn't start the process.
Yeah.
According to Mashal, he didn't start the process.
So,
even though the beans were there.
Are we just ignoring the bishul issues?
What is bishul?
Anything at all?
Yeah, that's the problem, bishul. Let's say it's God for Khatam. Let's forget about the bishul issues.
Right. This assumes you're
assuming that bishul's okay. Assuming timers are okay. Assuming everything else is okay.
Yeah. So now you left.
But the other problems are not there. Let's say. Now you're left with another problem. Muktzah. Is it muktzah? Is this thing muktzah? According to the Yesh Aitzum in this sif, it should be also to use it. It's muktzah. Ben Hashmashas is muktzah. The same shadow came up here once with the rice, the sushi.
Right.
They put it. Erev Shabbos, they put it in a pan, or whatever, and then at the time it goes on Shabbos morning, and it cooks the rice on Shabbos. Let's say there's no problem of bishul. The problem is the rice, Ben Hashmashas is muktzah, and you didn't start cooking it yet.
So did you tell us that Rosh Shloimeh said the chiddush that comes to food, right?
Yeah.
There was this idea that you don't have muktzah. No, is it based on a...
No, but okay, very careful. Because of this halacha,
I thought
he said it's also. Because of this halacha, he said it's also. I spoke to him about it. He says because of this halacha, there's muktzah ben hashmashas, therefore it's also to do it.
The rice.
The rice.
So rice, the beans, it's going to be anything.
Anything. Coffee, anything you're setting on a timer.
As far as that by food you don't have muktzah. The din of muktzah doesn't apply to a food.
No, so that.
I can.
It started ben hashmashas, and it's cooking, then it's mutter. That's heter over. That's the Gemara. Someone starts ben hashmashas to cook is mutter. It's not muktzah. That's going with the Adam. But some of the process didn't start Erev Shabbos. It's on a timer to start Shabbos morning. According to the Yesh Oisrim, it's going to be Yasser. Just to come out. I know a lot of you people aren't happy with this psak, but that's what should come out according to this halacha.
We pass like the Marshal here?
We pass like the Marshal. So the halacha brings down the Marshal.
So instant coffee.
Instant coffee is something else. Instant coffee you can make it on Shabbos.
Right.
Instant coffee you can make on Shabbos in a hectic way. This coffee is in the machine. If you're going to add that coffee to water, that's lisheni, it's not going to happen. You need boiling hot water to go ahead.
If you pour water through it, that's from klisheni, it will still make.
Yeah, so fine. If you're going to tell me that the coffee in the machine can take water from a klisheni and pour it through it, it'll be okay, then maybe it's not muktzah, maybe. So then you have to be done exactly if that thing is called something that's edible or not. Meaning you can do it with the chetah on Shabbos. But if those
There's
crushed...
no way the raw rice is edible.
No, raw rice was not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the coffee, you may have a heter that coffee that's in the machine, you could use it and have to take away. Maybe. Then you have to... Every situation is different. But if a lot of these things, they need to be cooked. It's not cooked, meaning really cooked. Klisheni, nothing's going to happen to it. You're not going to have a taste of the coffee.
So our Rav Miller here said specifically the rice situation is also because of this.
Rice, because of muktzah.
Wow.
He said rice, and he said if you want to put up a bread machine.
A bread machine. Also.
A bread machine Erev Shabbos.
Right.
And then Shabbos at 6 o'clock in the morning, you'll start making your fresh challah. So now you'll have fresh challah. Shabbos morning. So you have fresh challah. So every Shabbos morning you have fresh challah. So is it mutter or not? So he says that's awesome, because it is halacha, it's awesome. I'll tell you something else. Another shiloh, which this already is a big shiloh. This is a shiloh which comes up a lot in Eretz Yisrael. When you have b'nei chutz la'aretz in Eretz Yisrael, the second day Yom Tov, could a Jew go ahead and pick up fresh bread from a Jewish bakery and give it to you on the second day Yom Tov? It was muktzah ben hashmashas of Yom Tov. It didn't become ice muktzah the second day Yom Tov. So could a Ben Eretz Yisrael bring to a Yisrael, to a Ben Chutz La'aretz, fresh challah? Let's say I had it once. It was it happens a lot. You have a 3-day Yom Tov, right? Thursday, Friday, Shabbos. So besides the fact that you get fresh challah for Shabbos, for the Friday morning suit this Yom Tov, so you can have fresh hot challah. Can you do that or not? Could a Jew go ahead and pick up from the Jewish bakery on Shabbos fresh challah?
On Friday.
On Friday.
I would say the din of a mir lakum and the din of telling a Jew who is not is
correct.
not
To mir lakum it's fine.
But
muktzah, the problem that ben hashmashas for you ben chutz la'aretz, Thursday,
Friday,
Wednesday night, the first day Yom Tov, all the flour in the bakery was muktzah for you. All the flour in the bakery is muktzah. And it didn't start doing it before Shabbos. Yeah. So it's muktzah for you till after Shabbos. So how are you allowed to use it on Friday?
We know exactly the calendar. We know the second day.
It doesn't make a difference. It was muktzah. It was muktzah from Wednesday night till after Shabbos. Could you do it or not? I know the person speaking about this a lot.
But and what are they possible?
I don't remember exactly offhand. I don't remember offhand.
Okay.
Let's find out. I know they're speaking about it more. The Rishonim was spoken about an Harav or a Hadas. The second day Yom Tov for Ben Chutz La'aretz, if a Ben Eretz Yisrael, first day Chalamoid, could cut off from the tree a fresh hadassim, fresh Haravas, and give it to a ben chutzpah on his second day Yom Tov. That's what they speak about. A lot of people ask for that. He can't do it. But you have the same shiloh by Challah. It's also a big shiloh. And from this halacha, if you hold like the Yesh Oisrim, it should be also l'chayra. The Armatirim, I don't know exactly why they matter it, but if it's muktzah, that can help you. It's not going to make a difference if it's Yisrael or if it's Akum.
So if a Ben Chutzlaretz goes to Israel, let's say on Sukkot, he celebrates 1 day or 2 days?
Let's just keep it 2 days. Let's just keep it 2 days. Fine. That's Shiv Dalet. Let's finish off the Dalet. Hagar.
Of course.
I will also lead to a most man of Shabbos. B'jit my pas b'Shabbos. The other died the Yisrael ka'ovid. Says the Ramah that if you give the guy money before Shabbos and you tell him bring me fresh bread on Shabbos, then even according to Yesh Matirim, it's Aser. Why? Because then he's doing it for the Yisrael. This whole Sif Tumah we spoke about, the guy is doing it for himself. There's a question of muktzah. But if the guy is doing it for you, of course it's Aser. So therefore, if you give the guy money before Shabbos to make bread for you, even though he's a baker, he's making tons of bread, but if you order it before Shabbos, he's bringing you a fresh bread on Shabbos, it's Aser. Because that is making for you. And that'll be the same issue by papers. If you pay for the paper before Shabbos, and they give it to you on Shabbos, it'll be Aser. Because he's doing that for you. That paper is making for you.
Would we have a minute that it would be mutter? Well, why do you have to say this?
What the Chiddush is saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like, the Ramah doesn't really belong here. I mean...
No, I don't say it because he's going in the case that they take the past palter, right? And the guy's going to give you a fresh loaf of bread on Shabbos.
Right, but the whole premise of this seif is that he's doing it b'shul outside.
I'm never tired. A lot of times I see the Ramah will throw in, sometimes when it's talking about that halacha, you shouldn't forget that there's another problem and don't overlook that issue. So that's all the Ramah is doing over here. It's telling you that if you give money, you have another issue of the guys doing it for you. Okay, Sif Hey.
So is this where the coffee house comes up?
Oh, so the coffee house, right? The coffee house is also same shaila. If you go to
it's a little different because the chayra bread he's baking it. You're gonna pre-order a loaf of bread.
Right.
Here he's putting up a pot of coffee for
a bunch of people.
For many people who are not. And
I never had the shaila. I was in the hospital on Shabbos, and I had a Tim Hortons card.
Right.
So I went to the Shabbos morning to get a fresh hot coffee. They bring coffee. I go down. I'll tell the nurse to get me a coffee. You know, here's Tim Hortons card. Do whatever you want. I don't use it really. And get me a coffee. But the shaila was they're not doing it for you. They're doing it. You happen to be buying it on Shabbos. So when they made the coffee, it wasn't made for you. It was made for Rav Akum probably.
Right.
But the question is muktzah. Well, those coffee beans muktzah Erev Shabbos. That's not a heta. According to the Yesh Oisrim, they're the same issue. Those coffee beans were muktzah Erev Shabbos. According to the Yesh Oisrim, if a guy makes bread for himself, it's also muktzah. The coffee is the same problem. It should be also because of muktzah. This muktzah problem is a serious issue. Anything fresh is a serious issue because of muktzah. Even if you're going to say that your timers, let's say maybe as a heter, this for sure is this halacha. That's mamash this halacha. A guy is making fresh bread for himself, and then he's giving it to you. So the guy made fresh coffee for himself, and then he's giving it to you.
So the fresh, if it's only possible through an issue, that makes it mutter. If it's possible in a mutterlik way.
Correct. If it's possible to make it in a mutterlik way, for example, let's say the coffee beans, and then they ground the beans on Shabbos, that's for sure is also. Because the beans you can't eat before Shabbos. If you're going to say it was already ground before Shabbos, and the coffee itself is possible to make it the coffee on Shabbos, shloi b'derech iser, then you may have a head to buy the coffee places.
Even if he made it for derech iser.
Even if he made it Even if he made it derech iser and he cooked up the water and he made it on Shabbos. Right. But if you're going to say that coffee powder, you could use it on Shabbos, so it's not muktzah, then in the charami. There may be a head for the coffees. I don't know.
What's that?
That the coffee, the coffee is not muktzah because you could make it with a heter. If you add from a klisheni, you can add water to it and use it.
So if I went home now and took klisheni and I put it through coffee and I made a cup of coffee, it would work fine. I could say that.
If you have coffee burned in your coffee machines, and every Shabbos you test it, and you take from a klisheni, and you pour onto it, and it goes through it tastes good, then echanami. We may run into a serious issue of kalei abishol, because if it's not cooked at all, right? The only way you get the taste out is through the hot water. Then it's the case of the tea that we had in the Trinidad.
But they roasted it before they got it.
They roasted beforehand.
No, because that's already been cooked.
Instant coffee is already cooked. It's different.
Right.
But the coffee beans they grind up, they have fresh coffee beans. I don't know. I'm not sure what the Matzia says. The Matzia says that you can make coffee without being over any isurim and echanami. It's not muktzah. You have to make sure that you can make coffee without being over any isurim, including kalei abishol. You have to check it there. If you test it before Shabbos and it's possible to make it with a heter, and echanami, that could be a heter for the coffee.
So the fact that he's doing it for everybody else
doesn't take care of muktzah. Right, the muktzah is still right. The muktzah is still a problem, even without noilad. The mashal is not going with noilad. Mashal is saying anything that didn't start before Shabbos is issa. There's no gomra with the other on that. Then the halacha brings down the mashal.
So in the case of the hospital, you could be samech even on the mechaber says yesh matir tzorich.
If it's a tzorich. What's called a tzorich?
I don't know.
Coffee in the morning, the tzorich?
Well, I mean, maybe. The person is in a hospital. You were saying that the case was in a hospital.
Yeah, but the coffee is a tzorich?
Oh, I don't know.
Depends. It's called tzorich. It's a tzorich for bismillah. It's a tzorich for lechem mishnah. I don't know. The coffee is called a tzorich.
It's with morning Shabbos.
If you have the head of the matirim, then all these cases are mutter. Right? Even if he makes fresh bread, it's no problem. It's always a muktzah b'chlal. We're going now to the ice cream.
So you could say, according to the Oyster, that coffee on Friday night might be a different thing. If let's say he actually started the brewing process, like around Shabbos, and it was brewing through Benish Moshes, then Friday night coffee could be mutter, but Shabbos morning coffee would not be.
Correct. If you go Friday night and the guy started making the coffee Benish Moshes, that's harami. You could use it there. Because Gomra b'dei Adam means it started the process beforehand. Right. But here, he didn't start the process beforehand.
And having picked the coffee beans is not considered?
I don't think so. I think it's called starting. I don't think so. Even setting it up in the machine, I don't know if that's called starting before Shabbos.
Well, Rabbi says it's not.
Right?
Rabbi says it's not.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the newspaper for a minute? I can understand how there's a problem if your paper is delivered for you on Shabbos, right?
Yeah.
But let's say it's one that you don't subscribe to, like they throw the Thornhill Post or the Liberal there.
Yeah, so
they didn't make it for you.
If you didn't pay for it, if you're not paying for it, you didn't order it for Shabbos.
Right.
But the question is, then it depends if it's Rav Akum or Rav Yisrael. If it's Rav Akum in the city, we have to get to that. If it's Rav Akum in the city, we say it did for Rav Akum.
No, it's Rav Yisrael.
And even more, I have to get to it later, we'll see. But it could even be, if they're doing something, and they're giving it out to everybody, then, even though it's Rav Akum, but they're giving it out to Yisraelim also, so they made it for the Israelim. They made it for you. They printed 1 million copies, and they're giving it out to 1 million people in the neighborhood. So Rav Akum is not going to help you. Rav Akum is only going to help you if they make a certain amount of stuff that only 10 people could use. And there's Rav Akim, so we're assuming that the Akim is going to use it. But if they're making it for everybody to use, then it could be worse. We'll see.
So if a Jew lives at Jane and Finch and they distribute a free paper, you can read it. But
no, lav dafka. Because if they made it for everybody that lives in that area, they made it for that Jew also.
You're saying it's such a mute there.
It doesn't make a difference if it's a mute or not. We'll see more when we get to it.
They're never going to make it to the level of units of one.
If it's 50 houses and 50 copies, for those 50 houses,
if it's one copy,
that's making it is not. It has no.
It doesn't make a difference. They're making it for you.
Different for Thornhill.
But they're making it for you. There could be 1,000 goyim in a city and one Jew, and they made something for the whole city. That one Jew, we can't use it. We'll see. We'll get to it. We'll see if that's true or not.
Then the Palter would be a problem then. In the Taz, the assumption of the Palter is that there are no, or very, very few Jews.
Correct.
Right. I mean, otherwise it's the same thing. That's where I'm basing it from.
So we'll see. We'll see. We'll get to it. We'll get to it in a few sefer now. We'll get to how that works. When you make it for Jews and for non-Jews, how we look at it. Let's go to the Sifhei. It shouldn't take long. If we do it, or
sure.
Let's do Sifhei. Akim said Tzadagim by Lichtenstein Paris Ba'atzmai is very similar to before. He instead of making bread, what did he do? He captured fish, or he picked Paris Ba'atzmai Asurim Yisrael. It's also for Yisrael, and this is even according to Nishmatirim. This case is even according to Nishmatirim by capturing fish, and by Lichtenstein Paris it's much worse. Lichtenstein Paris and Tzad is much worse because it was never the guys. Flour was the guys before Shabbos. So making it the flour. By Tzad Dogim and Lichtenstein Paris, it was never the guys before Shabbos. On Shabbos you went ahead and you got it. Such a muktzah, even by a guy we can say is muktzah. That's what the Mishnah Berurah brings down over here. If you have a chance, look inside the Mishnah Berurah, brings down the reason for it. The Taz wants to say is that maybe you'll go ahead, Shemiyal v'yitloish, it doesn't help you by dogim. But these things, there was never in the guys was shus before Shabbos, and the guy went ahead and got it on Shabbos. Such a muktzah, everyone agrees, even by a guy is a problem. But full of suffix in Lichtenstein by Tzadam Hayoim, Asurim Boy Bayoim. It's also on Shabbos. Aval Erev Mutarim Miyad. There's no different Chodesh Yas over here, because Chodesh Yas is only when the guy does it for you. Here he did it for himself. Maybe a problem of muktzah, but it's not a problem of doing it for you, and therefore it's no issue of Chodesh Yas.
But why do we go L'Hafel if it's a suffix?
Suffix Mukha, we'll see more about that next week. Okay. Yeah, good question. He was saying a suffix, we go L'Chumrah. Oh, right. Yeah, we'll see more about the next week. Why? It's a Sif Zion.
Does he see enough community between Tzadogim and Lipa Paris?
Yeah.
Paris, it's there. It's in his backyard. It's there. Tzadogim he doesn't even have it.
So Lipa Paris is another reason why I say that he saw, because it's easier than some Yal V'yitlosh. Let me give another one. The Mishnah Berurah says you have to come on to the reason. He says those two muktzahs, everyone agrees to as muktzah, even by a guy. Even by a guy. So the kids, what you have to remember from these two sifim is that a guy, we didn't speak about a guy doing it for Yisrael. We didn't touch that yet. That'll be next week. We spoke about a guy doing it for himself. A guy doing it for himself, the Magen brings down two reasons why it's also. Either because you may end up telling him to do it for you, or because of a problem of muktzah. That's the Yesh Oisim. The Nishmatirim hold, both of them aren't the problem. Shasot Chak, you can make on the Nishmatirim, but not by Tzad Dogim or by Lichtenstein Paris. And the reasoning why it's also, we saw the Mashal, we saw Al-Snoilid, or because of the Mashal, and that will apply to anything that was Muktzah Bei Hashmashas.